Hello everybody, we are at G&J Cartway for OVKA Race 3. Check out that flag. The wind was whipping on this race day. Very windy day. I think there were some pop-up canopy casualties that day, all kinds of good stuff. But it was quite chilly. It was probably about low 50s for most of these races. High 40s, low 50s. But it didn't rain, track was dry. Didn't really feel cold when you're out there driving, so not a big deal. But grip was a little bit sparse at the beginning of the laps. So we're going out for the pre-final. I did well in the qualifying. I got the pole position. I think my qualifying lap ended up being the fastest lap of all of us for the day, in the Legends class at least. Some of the other classes are a little bit faster. But again, I'm on the pole. I get a pretty stiff bump there from the back, and they call off that start, so we're going to go back around. Got some of the usual suspects up front, the 73 and the 84. I've been around them a lot in the last probably, I don't know, 8 races I've got videos for. At least, but on this season, if you've seen my first 2 videos, I was only around them for a short period of time in the finals. Both of my finals in the previous 2 races were terrible. So I'm hoping to bounce back. We're coming back around for the start. This is the C configuration. I do believe I already mentioned this is race number 3. But the C configuration you're going to see is it's probably the fastest of the long track configurations. It is the fastest. You'll see that we basically just come onto the straightaway they're on right there. So we get the green, I go around. It doesn't look like I'm going that fast, but I must have been going fast enough that I popped a pretty good gap on the rest of the field coming down through here. So I'm getting a good run. We're all sliding around a little bit. You know, I boosted my tire pressures up a little bit for this. Actually, let me correct that. I had higher pressures when I did my qualifying, and I lowered them down a little bit because the sun had come out sporadically. But I don't think that was the best move, because I was kind of through these corners right here, struggling from times not to go off the track. Also, I was turning in a little bit too early on some of these turns. There's going to be some spots coming up, and I'll mention them when I get there. But a couple times I turned a little too early and hit too much of the curb on my inside, front tire. Both of them were left-handers, so it would have been my front left tire. And it kind of bumped me up in there and made me almost go off the track on the backside, because my line was basically compromised as I was going around there. But the 84 is hanging pretty tough. He's been fast all season. He's still rolling that same Burrell that he had last year. I think last year was his first year on this cart. 73 is back there in his Coyote. He's pulled all the decals off of it. I think it was the Racing for Vets graphics on it last year. And then we got the 318s getting back up in the mix. And he had a rough couple of first races. He's doing well, and the 64 is also hanging. So we've kind of got like a 5-cart breakaway. I mean, we're not all bunched up right now, but we're all in pretty close proximity. Just takes a bad corner for somebody, and we're going to be all bunched up. But again, we're whipping around through here. I'm doing my Joe Turney lean as we go around out here. I'm leaning to the outside, try to get a little weight off that inside rear tire. And I will turn the camera around a little bit, but right now there's nobody in front of me, and I doubt if this is the first video that anybody's watched of the G&J Cartway track, so you kind of know what it looks like going forward, and it would just be me driving around. So looking backwards, you can kind of see the jostling back there and see who's hanging tough, and where they're gaining and where I'm gaining throughout the lap. But this year I've also been trying to concentrate on going with a little bit taller gearing and just trying to smooth things out, and hope that my motor can keep me where I need to be. The 84 tries to make a move under, but I was pretty sure I was clear of him, so I kept my same line. I didn't really give him the whole inside lane over those last little bumps, or last little curves. But I'm going to hold on to this. Like, I get a great gap right here. If I could keep this gap and keep, adding to it, it would be fantastic. But that just wasn't the way it was going to go in this pre-final. I think pretty soon the 84 is going to be up on me pretty hard. If anybody out there has a couple-year-old AM29, Burrell chassis, I don't care if it's Burrell or Ricciardo or Leclerc or whatever the other brandings are. I don't care, but I am looking for potentially to, I'm looking to get a newer AM29, frame or chassis. The one I have is a 2017. Now it's actually in really good condition. I don't have any, the bottom isn't scratched up or anything. Probably driven by an old guy like myself prior to me getting it, because I'm not really jumping a lot of stuff. All right, the 84 gets his good run right now. He's got me, so I know that he's got me. But I am going to try to, I get right back in on the back of him. I'm going to try to press him up through here. And I was hoping I might be able to get under him, but I kind of jumped that curb too much and it shot me to the outside and I lost some momentum. So I wasn't able to just, get him right back. We're coming down through here, and if you see, like right there, I was getting a little out of control. I thought it may not look that bad on the video, but man, I pounded that curb right there. I didn't really like it on the left. And to me, I was starting to feel a little bit out of control sometimes. And, the first two races, I never really raced around anybody much in those. The finals, I was just driving around in the back by myself. So I'm kind of getting a little hyped, and I'm kind of forgetting to breathe a little bit on some of these. So when it gets down towards the end of the damn race, I'm like, I'm sucking for a little bit of air on some of these. I had to remind myself, chill out and breathe. So don't let yourself get into that same kind of dumb stuff like I was doing. Now the 73 is coming, and I'm going to drive right off into the dirt. I hung my tires out in the dirt. It doesn't take much. The 73 gets right by me. I definitely wanted to keep the camera pointing right there. My buddy in the 318, he was sure that he got up to my seat, and I came down on him. But things I can vouch for it. Things are not always the way you think they happen. Like, I come back and I watch the videos and I'm like, man, I didn't think that's what happened. Like with the incident last week, I didn't realize, that went down the way it did. But, that's why I don't really say too much when I'm at the actual race until I can go back and look at my video, because I thought that I've gotten bumped and nobody even touched me. Very strange. So anyways, I'm trying to come back up on the 73, and I do get a good run right here, and I'm going to get under him. He was probably being a little more cautious than he needed to be, and I stayed in the gas a little longer, so he gave me the position. I wasn't so sure if he was gonna start making the turn on his normal line, and I was gonna have to back out of it, but he kind of kept it on the outside and didn't pinch me down, so I was able to complete the pass. And now I'm starting to kind of chill out a little bit. We're getting towards the end of the race. This is a 10-lap pre-final. We got the 73, though. He's popped that top. He looks like he's a John Travolta heading to the disco in 1978. A little Saturday Night Fever style back there. I was behind him when it happened, and I was like, all of a sudden everything started flapping. I don't know what happened, if he blew the zipper out or what. But he's looking cool. It's the Fonz. Anyways, everybody's tightened back up. Second through fifth place, we're all pretty close. Everybody's logging pretty similar lap times. I do think, I can't remember. I might have got the purple lap on this race, but I don't remember. And then, we're going to battle it out to the end. I don't swing it around to the front. The closer racing was behind me. The 84 was holding a pretty steady, I don't know, maybe like 10-car gap in front of me. 10-car gap. Probably, we'll see right now. We're coming to the finish right now. So, yeah, he pulled on me pretty good. So that's the end of the pre-final. I finished second. I'm going to start the final in position 2, which I do like, because I like to get a good run around the outside if my lane goes well. I'm in charge of making my lane go well, but if the inside lane gets a good bump, kind of like I did at the beginning of this race, they might pull out in front of me. But my odds are pretty good on the outside, I usually think. So, anyways, we will see you at the final. At least on this weekend, it was starting out pretty good for me, so we'll see how it continues in the final. Thanks.